What's up guys, XM360 here, and in today's video I'm going to be reviewing something that I've been pretty excited to show you guys. This one's going to be the Azulle Byte Plus. And what this is, the best way for me to describe this is basically a streaming stick for your TV on steroids. So what this is, it's basically a miniature computer. It's a fanless Windows 10 mini desktop PC that hooks up to your TV or monitor with an HDMI cable, and there are other connection options too, but it basically transforms your TV into a computer. So this sells on Amazon for various prices. There's a model that's 2 gigabytes of RAM and 32 gigabytes of storage, that's $170. There's a model that has 4 gigabytes of RAM and 32 gigabytes of storage, that's $190. And then there's a model that has 4 gigabytes of RAM and 64 gigabytes of storage, and that one's going to be $282. And I'll put all those links down below, and as you guys can see, there's a whole ton of ports on the back, and there's also an antenna for the device to pick up Wi-Fi. So my first impression with this device is that it feels really nice. It has a really good solid weight to it, and it has metal parts. That top piece is all metal, and it feels like a really high quality product. It doesn't feel like something that's cheaply made whatsoever. And I'm really liking all these port options on the back. One thing that I do have to note with this, you will need your own mouse and your own keyboard in order to really use this, because it is a computer and you do have to navigate on screen, so you will need a mouse and a keyboard. And this is the user's manual right here. There are 2 USB ports on the back for both that mouse and the keyboard. And one thing that I do have to note is that this does operate off of its own power source, so you will need to have an outlet open for this. It doesn't work off the TV's power, so it plugs into your TV with an HDMI cord, and then you plug it into a wall outlet with a power cord, which is included. So this right here, I'm guessing in this box, is going to be that little power cord that goes from the wall to the Byte Plus. And just taking this out of the box, my first impression is that I like it a lot because it doesn't have a power brick. And then this little plastic bag right here that I'm about to show you, you can pretty much just ignore this. This is called an Autorun Jumper, and it's basically just used to open up the device if you ever lose power, but you're almost never going to need that, so you can pretty much just store that away somewhere. I wouldn't suggest throwing it out altogether though. And then what I was saying about the power cord that I like is that it doesn't have a brick to it. So many devices like laptops and gaming consoles will have this giant brick that is kind of in the middle of the cord. However, this does not have one of those power bricks, so I like that a lot, and I'm going to take this into better lighting to really show it to you guys before I hook it up. That blue label on the top basically just says that the device can get warm at times if you're using it a lot, so just be careful of that. However, it also says that it has heat dispersing technology, so it's not going to overheat. And you guys can see there's a whole number of ports on the back there. You got USB ports, a headphone jack, you have an Ethernet port, you have the power port, and you also have one of those little VGA connectors if you don't want to use HDMI. There's also that antenna there to pick up Wi-Fi, and it has a dual band wireless network adapter that features both a 2.4 GHz band and a 5.0 GHz band, which allows connections on both bands, resulting in higher speed and less interference. And that's straight off of their Amazon page. I'm just reading you some of the specifications. Some other stuff about it. I'm going to talk about some of the innards, and like I said, this comes in different models with varying sizes of RAM and storage. This device also has an Intel 64-bit Quad-Core Cherrytrail Processor, and that puts out at about 1.44 GHz and up to 1.84 GHz. And I know a lot of you might say, oh, well, that gigahertz number is only half of what my PC is. That's still really high for such a compact little device. And that's really good. That's higher than one of my laptops. I have a laptop that only puts out 1.2 gigahertz, so I'm very, very surprised that such a little compact device can have so much power. So I have my Azulle Byte Plus all plugged into my TV right here via HDMI, and it's also plugged into the wall with the power outlet. And you can see the little power button on the front of the device is lit up red. I also have a wireless USB mouse plugged in on the back here, and I plan to plug in a USB keyboard in just a moment here as well on the other USB port. I've also put that dual band antenna up, that way I can get the best Wi-Fi possible. And that's pretty much all there is for setup. Now, turning this device on, you just need to either press this button on the front or hold it on for like a second or two until it turns blue. And then after a couple of moments, you should see an Azulle loading screen on your TV. And it will take a couple of moments the first couple of times you boot it up, because you do need to go through the setup process. So the very first time you turn it on, the light's gonna, at least for me, the light turned blue, and then it kind of went red for a couple moments, and it turned itself back on. It kind of did like a little reboot. I'm guessing this is all just part of the startup process the very first time you get everything set up. As you guys can see, the Azulle logo is showing up on the screen there, and I'm now going to switch over to the on-screen view. I'm going to use my capture card instead of actually filming my TV screen. And as I predicted, we got some basic setup stuff here. Enter in your time zone, your language, your keyboard setup. So I'm probably going to speed through this setup stuff because it's going to take me most likely a couple of minutes. I'm probably going to have to enter my Wi-Fi password, set a couple of settings up, and then I'm going to show you guys what it looks like when you actually first start. So I'm just about completed with the setup, and it was surprisingly quick. It only took me about 2 or 3 minutes, and I am going to speed through that in the video so that you don't have to watch all of that. And it's going to take me right here. Wow, that was actually pretty quick. I thought we were going to have to go through a bit more, but we're already on the desktop. So as you guys can see, like I mentioned earlier, the operating system is Windows 10, and I believe they do have a Linux option as well for those of you who want that. I'm not even sure where I'm going to start. There's so many different features to test out, but like I said, this is like a streaming stick on steroids. You're basically getting the power of an entire laptop connected to your TV, so you're turning your TV into a computer. So one of the first things I'm going to go to is going into the settings and showing you guys the actual specs of this computer. And I know I've already said them to you, but I figured I'd show them to you as well, just so you guys can have proof of what I'm talking about. This computer has about 32 gigabytes of storage. Like I said, I got the 2 gigabyte RAM, 32 gigabyte storage model. And then we have Windows 10 Home Edition version 1511. We also have about 1.44 gigahertz on that Intel processor, and that's a quad-core processor. We also have 2 gigabytes of RAM, I believe I already just said that, a 64-bit operating system, and that's just about it. There's some other specs on there that some of you may be interested in as well. So, like I've been saying throughout the video, and I'm going to repeat myself again, I really think this thing packs a lot of punch for being just a little tiny box. This thing really has a lot of computing power. And one of the first things I'm going to do, being a responsible computer owner, is download Google Chrome, of course, instead of using the default search engine. And don't get me wrong, Microsoft Edge is okay, but I definitely think Google Chrome runs a bit faster and runs a bit better. So I am going to set that as my default search engine as well. And one of the first things I'm going to test out is probably going to be YouTube, because that's going to be one of the biggest things I'm doing on here, is going on YouTube. So I want to see how well everything works, how quick the response times are, and how well it plays the video, because this is basically going to be a streaming stick for me. And I'm also going to do other things with it as well. Like I said, you can get Microsoft Office on it. You can do all sorts of things. You can create PowerPoint presentations, type out documents. I believe you can even hook up a webcam via USB, and you can use Skype. There's endless possibilities with this. You're basically turning your TV into a media hub. And I'm sure there'll be people out there that will say, oh, my next-gen console can do all this stuff. It can browse the internet. It can use YouTube and Netflix and Hulu. But it really can't do all this stuff. Your next-gen console does not have the complete power of a laptop computer or a PC. You're not going to be able to access things like PowerPoint and Microsoft Office, and there's just a whole bunch of web-based applications that you're not really going to be able to run on your next-gen console that you're going to be able to run with this. So I do think this is definitely a step up from that. It's definitely cheaper buying this as opposed to buying an Xbox One. The price difference is definitely a couple of $100s. And this device, I like it a lot. It's a lot more compact in size, it's fanless, it's tiny, and it has more computing power if you're really trying to turn your TV into a computer and a media hub for streaming and doing work and whatever you want to do with this. So YouTube seems to be running perfectly fine. I'm able to play the video, the frame rate's perfect, everything seems to be fine. I'm liking it a lot, and it's definitely going to work out good for streaming. So I'm going to step away from the video for a moment and do a little testing for myself for maybe half an hour or so, see how the response times are, see how everything functions, and I'm going to get back to you guys, and I'm going to transition into really my review. Okay, so I've completed my little testing. I was kind of just messing around, trying all the different applications and trying out different websites and stuff, seeing how well everything reacted. I tried downloading a couple things as well. This thing functioned pretty much exactly like my normal computer. I didn't really see any differences. This thing worked great. It worked flawlessly. I haven't found any issues with it. Everything functioned fine. All the response times were fast. It basically turned my television into a computer, and it works phenomenally. So this is definitely the ultimate mini desktop PC streaming stick on steroids. I don't even know what to call it at this point. It's just amazing. It works great, and as far as my review goes, I have nothing bad to say about it really. The only, I don't know, somewhat con I could say is that the prices are a bit higher than some of the traditional streaming sticks. You have prices at 170, 190, and 282. But I really don't mind those prices too much. I think the product is worth that. I think this is a very, very high quality product that Azulle has put a lot of time and effort into. So that's not even really a con for me. It's just something that I think is worth mentioning. You guys do need to make sure that you have a USB mouse and a USB keyboard before using this. And obviously, if you want to do things like stream Amazon Prime videos or stream Netflix, you will have to make sure you already have accounts for those different websites, but besides that, everything's good to go out of the box. And just looking at the product page and some of the information, there's two big things that I kind of forgot to mention, and I feel really stupid for forgetting this first one because I really wanted to mention this earlier in the video. On the side of the device, there's a micro SD card slot that will allow you to add up to 128 gigabytes of extra storage. And the second point that I forgot to mention is that you can also do a dual monitor or a dual TV setup with this. So I really should have mentioned those earlier in the video. Those are huge selling points as well, and everything about this product is just amazing. I would definitely suggest it to anybody who's even considering it. It gets a really, really good review from me, and I love this a lot. I'm definitely going to be using it a lot. I'll put links down below on where you guys can buy it for yourself, and I'll put links to all the different models. If you guys found this review helpful in any way at all, hit that like button down below. And if you're new to my channel, hit that subscribe button for more amazing reviews just like this. And as always, guys, thank you for watching from XM360.